Hello, today I'm going to teach you how to play the Curator without Mechs and Murlocs. Wait a second, aren't those the Curator's best tribes? Don't you want the Noya module? Don't you want the SI Fin to help you poison and divine shield your buddy or your hero? The answer is no. The Curator actually synergizes most with two different tribes, specifically dragons and elementals, with the MVPs being the Whelp Smuggler and Major Domo. I'm going to show you exactly how these two minions complement each other and synergize with our hero power and buddy to give you an easy win. So what is our hero power? We start the game with a 2-2 amalgam. It's basically like a Malgadon. It has all minion types. Mishmash is just the same. It has all minion types. However, when you buff your amalgam, you also gain the stats on Mishmash. We'll talk more about Mishmash later, but let's get started with the early game. Here, I got lucky. I wanted to buy a token. You want to buy a token because you are going to be leveling on turn 2. Early game, your goal is to find the Whelp Smuggler and find any buffs. I'll show you in just a moment how powerful the Whelp Smuggler is going to be with your buddy and with your amalgam. The Whelp Smuggler is on tier 2, so we are going to have to level as soon as you can, so that's why on turn 2, we're going to level to tier 2. Now, the token's very helpful because that allows us on turn 3 to sell the token and buy 2 minions. If you don't get a token, that's okay, you can always still sell that minion in order to buy 2 2-drops. One very important thing that is going to be valid for all games, you do not want to roll early. Here, I did only find 1 2-drop. Unfortunately, it is a little weak, but that's just the luck of the draw sometimes. Unfortunately, you are going to usually have to buy another minion. So here, I do end up picking up the 1-4, the reroll elemental, so that I can get some rolls later to try to find that Whelp Smuggler. I am actually holding on to the banana. Sometimes, or actually in most cases, you do want to play the banana for strength, so you don't take damage. Here, because I'm going this specific build with the Curator, with the Whelp Smuggler, I'm going to have a lot of potential upside by holding on to these bananas. Here I got really lucky. I was able to find my Whelp Smuggler. I'm going to be really strong now, and I'll show you exactly how that synergy works once we get our buddy. Again, I'm holding on to these bananas. I'm not going to play them just yet because I want to wait until I get my buddy. Because remember, Mishmash gets all the stats that my buddy or that my amalgam receives. So if I were to play a banana on my amalgam, the Mishmash would also receive +1/+1. Here, everyone's still low level. I'm taking very low damage. I do not mind holding onto these bananas for a little longer. Yeah, sure, maybe I'll win these fights. It's not a big deal though. Turn 5, we're going to go ahead and level to Tavern Tier 3. This is a very standard curve. We're just going to slowly work our way up. So remember, we want to be strong. Next turn, we're going to be able to receive our buddy. Usually, if you're playing strong with Curator, you usually have a good early game. You should be able to get your buddy on turn 6. If you do really poorly, you might get it on turn 7. But the goal, you always want to try to get it by turn 6 so you can keep playing strong. Here it does look like we're going to lose, but again, everyone's low level. We're really not taking much damage at all. And this is where our power spike is going to hit. Take a look at what happens. We are going to level because this is our power spike. We do not need to worry about getting stronger since we have received our Mishmash. I'm going to play all my buffs on my amalgam. Every single banana is a total of +2 attack, +5 health, split between my two, my buddy and my hero power. This is very powerful. As you can see, I already have 2 giant units, and this is only turn 6. I'm definitely going to win the next few fights now. I'm going to consistently look for any buffs I can. Remember, because Amalgam is all minion types, you can use every single buff on him or her, whatever it is. You could use Demon, you could use Dragon, right? They all are going to work. So look, this is fighting against Galliwix, and it looks like a piece of cake, right? There's no way any world that he's going to be able to beat this board. This goes for mostly any board you're going to see on turn 6. When you have this powerful combo, you're going to win these early fights. So mid game, you're looking for Major Domo on tier 4. we got super lucky. It showed up right away. This is now where you're going to be rolling on tier 4, looking for elementals, maybe pairs for your whelp smuggler, anything that can continue buffing your amalgam. So here I was able to find another whelp smuggler with that major domo. This is where the synergy applies. The major domo is going to be buffing the amalgam, which buffs your mishmash. Every single major domo buff, because it ticks for every single elemental you play, it's also going to be buffed because of the whelp smugglers. So for every elemental you play, you're getting an additional health from each whelp smuggler. And guess what? The mishmash also gains the bonuses from the amalgam and from the major domos and from the whelp smuggler. So here I feel very strong, right? I got everything I looked for. Sometimes you're not going to get it. You might have to roll around on tier 4 in order to find that major domo, find the whelp smuggler. If you are lucky like me, if you're able to find everything there, you can just go ahead and level up to tier 5. So I was able to curve that out perfectly, buying this elemental and then buying the overseer. So continuing to get buffs while also tavern tiering up. You can just see these, the scaling of mishmash and my amalgam is just insane. So the health is crazy. You actually see that the damage, not so much. That's actually why though that having no Murlocs in this lobby is beneficial. Without Murlocs, you're gonna have so much health that none of these other minions are gonna be able to kill you. So here, we're gonna continue buying buffs. You want to be careful for the elementals. You're not going to look for every single elemental. This elemental is very good because you get to play 2 elementals for the price of 1. Here, I actually found Argus and I decided to buy Arm. This is a little bit of a risky move, but it can pay off tremendously when you have this combo. What Arm is going to do is when these amalgams and mishmash, when they get attacked, you're going to get permanent damage. This damage is going to be very helpful when you have bunch of health and not so much attack. The only downside to this is because they are the only 2 taunted, you become vulnerable to poison. That's why no Murlocs is good, but they still have the 1/1 spore. So you need to watch out. Very strong to taunt multiple minions besides your amalgam and mishmash. I found Bran very powerful with your Curator. It's going to be able to double all buffs, because remember, all buffs are going to work on your amalgam, they're all going to work on your mishmash as well. Definitely going to freeze for the brand. I also was able to find another Argus, so I can taunt other minions to protect my amalgam and mishmash from poison. So I buy the brand, I buy the Argus, and I buy the elementals because elementals are tons of buffs. There, I go ahead and decide to buff my major domo as well as my whelp smuggler. I do sell whelp smuggler because I'm starting to realize I have a lot of health. I do need more damage over health, so I would prioritize the major domo over the whelp smuggler. I actually made a mistake here. I should have taunted Bran over the whelp smuggler because when my mishmash, when my amalgam get attacked, the arm will proc, and as a result, the whelp smuggler also procs the health as well. It's not the biggest deal because it's not a permanent buff, but it might make a very small difference in the fight. So again, not game changing, but just one thing to make a note of. We're now in the end game, and we're going to be looking for Nadina and Selfless to Divine Shield our 2 giant minions. We're also going to look for Pyro Spawn. That is that dragon, the Spitty dragon that damages and can help pop divine shields before your minion attacks. Again, we're going to look for tons of buffs. The taunt buffer is going to be so many buffs. We're going to pick up another major domo here. We don't have room for it. We could have played it by selling the brand, but I believe that holding brand for more buffs later is going to be more valuable. In hindsight, probably shouldn't have bought that major domo looking for that triple. It might be better just to continue looking for any last minute buffs before playing the Nadina down. This guy looked pretty strong, having those chromo wings with crazy attack in Nadina. usually a top 4 build. But alas, he's not going to be a match for me. This build is crazy. You can see now with the golden mishmash, I forgot to mention, this guy gets double the buffs that your amalgam receives. So on top of brand doubling my buffs on my amalgam, now mishmash is getting double of the double buffs. It's so many stats. So when there's no Murlocs, stats are king. It's really a no-brainer. Tons of stats that other people cannot deal with. Here, I found this elemental. I just decided I'm going to keep on building my stats because I have another major domo to put down. I could have chosen to buy that poison in order to secure this win, but I was so confident in my 2 units beating the rest of my opponents, so I just skipped through it. I actually found a Caligos and some jugs, and I decided to freeze that. Caligos is going to be additional buffs for my 2 amalgam tribes, all tribes, and having that wolf smuggler again is going to continue adding on to the health. And jugs with brand, just so many stats, so definitely a great board to freeze. Looks like it's down to the last fight. I did mention that Pyrospawn's a very good endgame unit, but when you're facing in a non-mech lobby, there's going to be very few divine shields unless they have Amalgadon, so I didn't worry too much about finding that Pyrospawn. I know I'm playing beasts, there's not going to be a single divine shield. One really important thing in the endgame is also to worry about your positioning. Again, I'm so big here that I don't really need to worry about positioning. Because I know I'm playing beasts, maybe finding a zap would be helpful, but with such crazy stats, there's really no one that can beat me. So, yep, that's pretty much the game. To recap, Curator is very strong with dragons and elementals both in the game because of that synergy with the Wolf Smuggler and the Major Domo. Hope you guys enjoyed it and hope you learned something. Definitely check this build out, try it out if you win, or if you enjoyed this video, please feel free to like, comment, and subscribe. Good luck!